Tyler.
And I'm Nick.
And here we are going to talk about some things crypto. But
Some
Nick,
things.
some things.
Yeah.
Nick, do you want to open us up with what we have for this video?
Yeah. We'll open up with an article from livebitcoinnews.com. The headline says, Coinbase and others are taking security measures into their own hands. So we've been talking about, over the course of this show, if you've been paying attention, that there's not a whole lot of regulation in crypto, which is kind of a good thing, also a bad thing. So some platforms like Coinbase and Grayscale are going, screw it, we'll regulate ourselves.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is coming off the heels of lawsuits with Kik and with Block One, who that's EOS.
Yeah, they're basically the same thing.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is kind of so that they can have some sort of infrastructure. If the SEC starts looking into stuff, then they can just show them here.
Yeah. The hardest part is it's that the government, U.S. government, and other governments, in another video we will talk about the Ukrainian government legalizing crypto, but basically for the most part, most governments, besides a few countries, don't have any regulation towards crypto. So a lot of people don't know what they can hold, what they can distribute, what they can sell, buy, hold, invest in, whatever that could be. And so from this article that we're reading, Coinbase is actually going to be coming out with a list of basically coins that they could potentially list or are listing, and they're going to rate it on 1 to 5. And the biggest thing is, so with this regulatory unclarity that we are having in the markets right now, the biggest thing is, and we talked about it in our previous video on YouTube, is the security aspect, where basically security is you are almost guaranteeing some sort of return while holding the asset. And as we had stated in the previous video, if you watched it, most of these coins in the markets are securities because they had some sort of ICO. And we go, the next article will be about EOS, however you want to say it. But basically, I think these companies, these exchanges and businesses are basically creating a way so they can cover their butts to say, hey, we tried to do our due diligence, like Coinbase is doing, and get rating these coins and these potential securities. So if a coin is going to be a security, they won't list it. But if it's not going to be a security, there's more chance that it will get listed. So it looks like from the next article, this is kind of tying into the same thing. So we can flip back and forth, but EOS, believe it or not, just had a tussle with the SEC, and actually it resulted in a pretty non-significant, outcome. And so basically, for those who don't know, EOS held one of the largest ICOs in all of crypto history, raising $4.1 billion with a B. Now that's a crap ton of money, and it was one of the longest ICOs where it was held for a year, and it was held on the Ethereum blockchain. So because it was held on the Ethereum blockchain, it was an ICO, this deemed it a security. But once the ICO was done with, they flipped it to their own protocol, their own blockchain, to their own ecosystem. This then flipped it to a non-security. So basically the SEC was saying, hey, you had an unregistered ICO, you need to come up with, they were just basically coming in the talks of regulatory, punishment and all that. And basically EOS came out with a fine of $24 million, which if you think about it, you raise $4.1 billion and you come out with a $24 million fine, that's absolutely nothing.
That's 0.5%.
I think it said in the article it's 0.6%, not even a percent. So like you were saying, and it goes to question like with these companies, is it just better just to, like what the thing says, is it don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness later when they're all the way through it? Because what was the company, did you read? Blockstack. They were the first regulated, first SEC approved token, and the article was stating that basically EOS came out with less impact, with less financial burden. Like they didn't have to spend as much than Blockstack did, and they did it the correct way.
So Blockstack raised about $23 million, and they had to pay $2 million to the SEC in order to get this approval. So that's 8.7%
Yeah.
So compare that to 0.6%. What would you rather do?
Right, and I think the biggest thing that we are running into difficulty, or at least Blockstack is that Blockstack now has to be audited every so often. They have to overturn all the records, like basically every transaction. They have to be transparent, but they also have to be on these regulated SEC approved exchanges, which, who knows Blockstack? Is this the first time? I'm guessing you've heard of Blockstack,
Yes,
and Tyler,
yes.
I'm sure it's you, and it's me too, and I've been in the space for a little bit. It's on these exchanges nobody knows about, and according to the article, there's barely any liquidity to it. So these people went through all the regulatory hoops, they jumped through everything that they had to do, spent this money, and got what they wanted, but now their platform is very low. There's not a lot of adoption. But with EOS, they raised $4.1 million. For the kicks of it, they started their own social media website. I think it was called Vision or something. Yeah. That took $150 million to create, but it just, these governments are not creating any sort of regulatory clarity for these coins, and these coins are just going ahead and being like, hey, we're just going to raise this money and we'll just pay the fine later. But the thing is, even when they are making these cryptos jump through these hoops, it's not worth it. So, it's like these banks that do all this, like, I think JP Morgan, Tyler, did you hear about, like, the metal? There was a couple guys influencing the metal market over the past years, and they got fined heavily for it.
The metal market?
Yeah.
I've not heard of that.
Well, it's somewhere. If you want to pull up the article, you can. I'll try to stall until then. Just being honest.
That's how that usually works. Yeah.
So I wonder if, going back to the first thing we talked about, Coinbase and Grayscale and all that, like having these measures where they can designate something as security, non-security. I wonder if that's them going ahead and saying, we're just going to go ahead and not ask for permission. And then when the SEC finally does come down, well, this is how we'll beg for forgiveness, is by having this set up already.
Yeah. But so describe a little bit more what you're saying. So basically you're saying that they're trying to create their own system to where they can show them, like, hey, we've taken these steps.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of an example of what I'm gonna, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But I think Coinbase is saying, you know what, we're not gonna bother doing the legal route with the SEC like what Blockstack did. We're gonna get punished, and we know that. So then they're kind of waiting to get punished, and that's why they're doing all this extra security, so that when they get punished, it'll be like an easier punishment, pretty much.
Do you think that some actual Bitcoin investors are looking at it this way too? Because right now we all know that the tax market for crypto is horrendous. Like, they're deeming it commodities, and they're talking about you got to pay like 40% to 50% on each individual trade, and it's absolutely like they're basically just, it's a money grab, and it's horrendous. So a lot of these people are saying, I'm not paying my taxes. They're like, if I want to cash out, I'll pay my back taxes, but fines and all that add up. So do you think a lot of people have this mindset of, and plus, people who are, I can't remember the number, but it was some astronomical low number, whereas like the amount of people who actually filed crypto taxes was like 653 people in like 1 year.
That sounds quite accurate.
Yeah.
That sounds like too many, if you ask.
But, and like some of them got audited just for holding crypto. So a lot of people saw this and were like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going through the hoops. Like, what if they find something that they don't meet, like they overlooked, or they're just basically dipping their toe in the pond and stirring up the pot, and they could get in trouble for something. So you think like the amount of taxes that they owe now, and they wait for Bitcoin to go up so much in so many years, that the hope is it gets to a point where they can just pay their taxes and be,
Unless it's been the past couple weeks when you made nothing, unless you're shorting it.
Yeah, so I don't know. That was just a thought, it's just not sure where that's going to go, but that's the vibe that I've been getting, because not many people, it's the regulatory clarity, the unclarity with SEC, the unclarity of taxes. We are still in a huge gray zone. It's still the Wild West. I think that's why a lot of big institutions have still yet to dip their toe in. but you see these bigger guys with a ton of money. It always seems like it's either the lower fish or the extremely high fish. There's like no real people in between that are investing in crypto. You know, you get, I'm not saying Warren Buffett's in crypto, but you got a couple billion laying around. It's like, why not throw 200 million in it? If I do something wrong, I'll just write the government a $30 million fine or whatever, and that's just a drop in the bucket. Or you get these lower people that are like, I got nothing to lose. Like, here's my $150 in a Bitcoin. I hope it goes to $1 million, you know, and then I'll have so many thousands. But you're not seeing these like low millionaires, the high, you know, like doctors and just these like higher to middle class people investing. I don't know, that's just not the vibe that I'm getting. Do you all get that vibe when you think about the crypto market and people investing? You know.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get too.
So, Tyler?
Yeah, I was
You
thinking
look
about
like you're about to say
I
something.
can
but
see gears turning.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day. I want to find a way to make a 401k version of Bitcoin. I think it'd be pretty cool to buy into the Bitcoin market through your 401k. So not only will the tax kind of be there, could you imagine investing like in Bitcoin in your 401k 10, 15 years ago, and then all of a sudden like, your 401k that was once 10,000 is now like, oh, it's
that much.
It's 2 million now. But anyway, like seriously, I thought about like how in the world in the future
Could you do something like
could
that?
something like that be done?
Because I think some people are starting to try to do a Roth IRA with Bitcoin in it. And isn't that with Roth IRAs? You don't have to pay taxes on it unless you cash out early.
I know 401k, if you cash out before 59, you can cash out at different points. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah,
We do
and
not give.
none of this is financial, legal, or tax advice. This is just three dudes in a room just shooting the crap about
Not
crypto.
knowing what we're talking about.
So, but yeah.
Take
So,
it from us. We don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, our listeners like, we know.
Obviously.
yeah, but speaking of taxes, it would be awesome to try to get some of these crypto tax professionals on the show, like here that we can talk.
Where?
Right
You
on
mean
top of this table.
Our guest speaker spot over here. You
This
mean?
will be our invisible, person. We'll
For those
consult
who are
them.
with us on live right now, that is a guest speaker spot. We do hope to fill that soon and get
Yes.
someone in here, every few weeks or every month and kind of
So
throw something different in
I
there.
can't see the screen of who's viewing it, but if you know somebody that you would like to recommend, please drop their name in the comment section, and we honestly will reach out to them. Like we are a channel looking to grow, so whether they're small, medium, or large fish, like I'm
Bill
up for
Gates,
anything.
Mark
you know.
Cuban, the small fish. We'll start off small and then go up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but we'll have like little donation addresses wherever they walk in. Like, we'll hand them a napkin. I'll have like a Bitcoin address, like donate here. Like here's my Venmo. Here's my PayPal.
Crazy would it be if you just like donated money? Like that'd be weird, right?
So, but anyway, do you all have anything to add to this topic of regulatory unclarity, where that could affect the market, and anything dealing with taxes and that sort?
the only good regulation is no regulation. So
Decentralization, baby.
that's like that's all I got to
It's
say.
like,
That's
yeah,
what
it's
that.
just this weird catch-22 where, like, the regulation kind of makes it more secure, but at the same time, it defeats the purpose of the decentralized currency.
Yeah, which there's a lot of people for that and not for that. So, that's why we have Ripple people, that it's a very centralized, which they don't quote it is, but it's very centralized currency. And then there's people that are like Bitcoin, and it's very decentralized. It goes back to things that we've been talking about. It's all what you're looking for. So, but yeah, that'll conclude this episode for us. We appreciate you tuning in. Check out our social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, maybe Twitch, maybe Patreon, maybe such.
Yeah.
Merch store.
All those things.
But we are going to be shooting on, so check us out on that. See you next time.